He is running. Not from a predator, not toward water, just running, the way an animal runs when something on its own body has become unbearable. This is a young Cape buffalo, Sincerus Kaffir, 3 years old, separated from his herd 2 days ago during a river crossing. He weighs close to 500 kilograms, and he has been standing alone in the African savanna since yesterday morning. The herd moved on. He did not follow. Something was holding him back. That something is alive. Thousands of it, in fact, spread across the base of his horns, deep in the folds behind his ears, along the crease where his neck meets his shoulder, and in the thick skin of his groin and inner thighs. Rhipicephalous ticks, some the size of a fingernail, some smaller than a grain of rice, have been feeding on this buffalo for weeks.
Animals prime.
Each one has buried its mouthparts into his skin and is drinking his blood. A single tick is a minor inconvenience. What this buffalo is carrying is not a single tick. Conservative estimates from wildlife researchers who have studied Cape buffalo in the Kruger ecosystem put the tick load of a heavily infested animal at between 2,000 and 6,000 individual ticks. At that level, the blood loss becomes measurable. An animal carrying 6,000 ticks is losing enough blood daily to affect its condition, its energy levels, and its ability to maintain body weight. The constant irritation means it sleeps less, feeds less efficiently, and spends enormous energy on behavior that does not work. Shaking, rubbing, rolling. The buffalo has been doing all of these things for 3 days. He shakes his head, a single violent rotation that sends his ears flapping. Momentary relief. The ticks in his ears do not move. He finds a dead acacia and rubs his right shoulder against the bark with his full weight. The bark tears. The ticks hold. He drops to the dust and rolls, grinding his back into the ground, legs in the air for 17 seconds. When he stands, the dust clings to his wet skin. The ticks are still there. He is losing this battle by increments, and he knows it in the way animals know things, through accumulated discomfort that has no resolution, through a body that will not let him rest, through the particular misery of an itch you cannot scratch. And somewhere in the 3 years of savanna life that make up his entire experience, there is a memory he is now following. Not a plan, a direction. He turns toward the river. The river that runs along the southern edge of this section of savanna is not a safe river. It is a Nile crocodile river. Crocodilus niloticus. Adults in this stretch range from 3.5 to nearly 5 meters. They have been lying in it since before this buffalo was born, in the same positions, using the same strategy they have always used. Buffalo come to this river every day to drink. Some of them do not go back. The buffalo approaches the bank and stops, 20 meters from the water. He reads the surface the way animals in crocodile country learn to read it. He sees what he is looking for, or rather, he does not see what would make him turn back. He moves forward. He enters the water. The water reaches his knees, his ankles. He stops at belly depth and stands. The crocodiles, there are 3 visible on the far bank, motionless in the midday heat, have noted his arrival. They do not move. They are reading the same situation he is. A 500-kilogram buffalo that knows where it is standing is not a practical target. The crocodiles wait. The buffalo stands. Neither side commits. What happens next has nothing to do with the crocodiles and everything to do with the water itself. The first fish appears within 40 seconds. A single yellow fish drifts up from the riverbed and makes contact with the buffalo's left rear ankle. It mouths at the skin. Then another joins it, then 6. Within 3 minutes, the area around the buffalo's lower legs is attended by 30 fish of different sizes, all working the same way, pressing their lips against the skin, searching systematically through the folds and textures, finding the parasites that have been there for weeks, and removing them with a precision no amount of rubbing against bark can replicate. The fish are not doing this out of altruism. They are doing it because a tick-loaded buffalo standing in a river is one of the most concentrated sources of nutrition available to them. Each tick removed is a meal. Each engorged tick, swollen with buffalo blood, is a substantial meal. The fish have no interest in the buffalo's well-being. They have considerable interest in the ticks, but the effect is the same. The buffalo stands completely still. This is remarkable. This animal, which has spent 3 days in constant restless motion, shaking, rubbing, rolling, moving, is now standing in a river like a statue. His breathing has slowed. His eyes, which have been scanning constantly, are beginning to close. Not because the environment is safe. The crocodiles on the far bank have not moved, but they are watching. Not because the threat is gone, but because something on his skin is finally being addressed, and the body's response to that relief is involuntary. He is not relaxing because he chose to. He is relaxing because relief is happening to him, whether he chooses it or not. Above the waterline, something else has noticed him. Red-billed oxpeckers, Buphagus erythrorhynchus, are specialists. They spend their lives on large mammals, moving between buffalo, rhino, giraffe, and zebra, and they have been watching this buffalo from a fever tree on the bank for 20 minutes. Not because he just arrived, because the moment he stopped moving, he became readable. A stationary buffalo, partially submerged, is an oxpecker opportunity of the first order. The first bird lands on his left horn. It sits there 2 seconds, tilts its head, and begins to move. Directed, deliberate, systematic, toward the base of the horn where the skin folds deepest and the ticks are most concentrated. Its bill is laterally flattened, a specific adaptation for exactly this task, and it uses it like a comb, working through the fur and skin creases with a scissoring motion. Each peck is precise. Each peck removes something. It swallows and moves immediately to the next location. Within 15 minutes, there are 7 oxpeckers on the buffalo. They have divided the above-water territory between them in a pattern that leaves almost nothing untouched. Horns, ears, neck, shoulders, and back, covered in a moving pattern of birds working every crease. Below, the fish continue. This is the part researchers find genuinely unusual. 2 cleaning systems working simultaneously on the same animal without interfering with each other. The fish own the submerged territory. The birds own the exposed territory. There is no competition between them because there is no overlap in their working environment. The buffalo, without any awareness of this arrangement, has positioned himself at the exact interface between 2 different ecosystems, the river and the air above it, and both are cleaning him at the same time. He has been in the river for 22 minutes when the hyena appears on the bank. A single spotted hyena, Crocuta crocuta, approaching from the east, following a scent trail that leads directly here. It reads the buffalo in the river, stops at the bank, and sits down. It is not hunting. A 500-kilogram buffalo in water is not practical prey for a single hyena, but it is watching, and its presence registers with the buffalo through scent even before he sees it. His eyes open. His head comes up. The fish continue below his waterline. The birds continue above it. The buffalo stands in the river and watches the hyena on the bank without moving in either direction. 4 minutes of this standoff. The hyena does not approach the water. The buffalo does not leave it. The cleaning continues. Eventually, the hyena loses interest and moves along the bank. The buffalo watches it go. Then his head drops again. His eyes half close. The oxpeckers are in his ears now, a sensation that would be intolerable under normal circumstances, but which right now is removing the ticks that have been inside his ears for days. The net result is something closer to relief than intrusion. 41 minutes in the river. The fish are slowing, not because they are full, but because the available parasites in the submerged zone have been reduced to the point where the reward per unit of effort has dropped below the threshold that keeps a fish interested. They begin to drift away in ones and twos. The birds follow a similar arc. The easy ticks are gone, the remaining ones are harder to reach, and there are other animals on this savanna. One by one they depart. The last oxpecker leaves from the top of his right horn. The buffalo stands alone in the river for 4 more minutes. Then he walks out. His coat is wet. His skin shows pale marks where engorged ticks have been removed. Small wounds already healing in the African heat. He is not cured. He will carry ticks again within days. But right now, in this moment, he is the lightest he has felt in 3 weeks. He shakes once, a full body shudder from head to tail, and walks up the bank and into the savanna. The herd is 4 kilometers northeast. He will find them before dark. The river runs on behind him. The crocodiles are still on the far bank. The fever tree is empty, the oxpeckers gone. The water shows no trace of what just happened. In this ecosystem, transactions like this happen every day. Animals that cannot solve problems alone find that other animals have already evolved to solve exactly those problems. Not for the first animal's benefit, but for their own. The fish did not come to help the buffalo. The birds did not come to help the buffalo. But the buffalo was helped, and the fish ate, and the birds ate. Everyone involved walked away better than they entered. Survival here is not always about strength or speed. Sometimes it is about standing still in the right river at the right moment and letting the ecosystem do what the ecosystem does. The buffalo knows none of this. He is already walking northeast, following a scent 4 kilometers old, into a savanna as indifferent to his well-being as it has always been. But he is walking, and this morning, that is enough.